Welcome back, everybody. Automotive Inc. here. Today we are doing a video that my wife actually suggested, which was my kind of like my highest Amazon finds, things that you need for your truck and accessories, or maybe even necessities. As I'm going to demonstrate today on Loki, this truck was about 80 G's, so it has a lot of features, but it didn't come with a lot of features. And I've had a lot of watchers come out saying they just picked up their new 25 Chevy Trail Boss or HD truck. And this would kind of go across the board, whether it's a half ton or a 1 ton or whatever. The things I highly suggest you look into, and a lot of these will cross over. I'm going to focus today on the HD part, and all of the items I'm talking about I will link down below. You can find them on the Zon. They're substantially cheaper than you can order them from actual manufacturer websites. And a lot of times, the actual manufacturer, actually the ones listing them, they have their own Amazon store. So if I'm talking about Timbren, they probably have their own store. Now, some of these things you might have thought about. Maybe you didn't even know if your new truck did or didn't have them on them. Some of these are going to be for protection. Some of these are going to be for use. Not a lot of these things I'm talking about are going to be just for looks. Okay, guys? Now, if you did buy a new Chevy truck and it has the old halogen bulbs, I have a video on Kong on the LED swap out on that. Now, I had a couple watchers come out and say that LEDs don't work in those headlight housings. They're too bright. But if you do that swap, guys, I've swapped them on tons of different cars and never had anybody complain about it. But all of these are going to be over function and protection when it comes to your new truck. At $80,000, $50,000, $40,000, this is your hard-earned money. So ladies and gents, these are my highest recommendations that you should think about no matter what you're using your truck for. Again, everything will be linked down below, and let's get started. All right, so when you buy a new truck, guys, a lot of them are coming from the factory without running boards. Now, all of these new trucks sit super high. If you don't get running boards, you do have to worry about the ability of some people with height challenges or age having inability to climb up on those bad boys. But as you get into your vehicles, you also have to worry about when you get out, because you can see this little crease in the leather. I actually step out on this, but this crease was already when I bought the truck. It was from the factory. Now, it's not breaking the leather or anything like that, but it is a mark there where somebody slides out, it's going to crush that. So running boards are really good. Now, these running boards are Ford's Raptor running boards. They say Ford on them. Who really cares? But at the end of the day, those are very inexpensive. I put some on Kong. I put some on my other Super Duties. They'll be linked down below. You don't need to spend $800. Now, if you watch my most recent video on a couple of those Trail Bosses, some of them have tube steps. Some of them have those weird, they're cool looking, but they're not as grippy as some of the running boards. I think that should be, it's a functional piece. It should be super grippy. It should be wide enough. I didn't like those running boards. And then we have, this is a flat board, I guess, if you will. And then they have a tube step. Now, a tube step is basically a round tube. It looks super sharp, has a small step-on pad. I'm not a fan of those because the whole thing gets iced up, and if that one pad has tons of ice, there's no other place to step on it that isn't going to be even slicker. So check those out. And again, they're easy to install with simple tools. So that's just one of those things that not only adds protection, adds looks, keeps crap off the underside of your truck right there, and helps people get in and out. Now, my next thing is fender liners. Fender liners, fender liners, fender liners. Now, I'm not going to break this up in Ford or Chevy or whatever, because the brands I use, they make the stuff for all the trucks, and they're way better. So, fender liners. Most trucks are going to come with the front fender liners unless somebody specifically deleted them. Why? Because these meat hooks throw a lot of water up. Everything underneath there is electrical components, engine components, coils, all that crap. They don't want to get wet, so they're sending it from the factory. But if you take a look, this is some type of soft fiber material. I think it's going to degrade over time, and if these tires threw a big rock, I would highly bet they would damage it. But you can see right here, the crap does never want to come out of them. So this is just like, weeds and dust and debris. You can probably spray, but you can't really scrub them because of this texture. Whatever, if you use even like a nylon brush, it's going to damage them. It's going to pull this fiber loose on it. And one time they did some fresh paint marking on the street, got splattered paint on there, and it was yellow, and it just, not on this truck, but on one of my Rams, and it just kind of screwed it up. So, at the end of the day, if you don't have it, I will link below. Husky Liners makes a set that's very inexpensive. They're guaranteed for life, and I'll show you what they look like on the back of this truck. You could swap these front ones out, but I would wait till these are degraded enough and then swap them out. So when we come back here, this is a Husky Liner, guys. So you'll know if you don't have something like this, you're going to see all of the underside of the fender well in the truck bed itself. You'll be able to see up underneath the frame. And if you have a new truck, go look at it, because your outside can be bright red and this is like white with very light spray on it. So whether that's some type of undercoating or it's just the primer, you need to protect that. This will keep crap off the underside of the frame and everything like that. They're super easy to install. These wash, they're hard plastic. You can't really even gouge them. I suppose if you took a utility knife to them, a screwdriver, you could gouge them, but you can see that these are easily to spray off. And again, these are super cheap. They come as a set. There's very, very minimal installation that you're gonna have to do. You pop them in, you reuse the hardware, and use some of the body plugs, and no matter if it's a Chevy or Ford or Ram or whatever. I have actually install videos on these, so if you pick up a set, just go to the search bar on the site and you'll see how easy they are to install in the Chevy, the Ram, and the Ford. All right, so this is one of those accessories I don't think you can miss, period, because we all know that the paint isn't as good as it used to. And dirt will build up in these inside of these fender wells, guys, and it'll start to degrade the metal and actually the part of the truck. And if you're up in the upper, Midwest, where they use a lot of salts on the roads and stuff, that stuff's just going to get to the paint. And then when you're throwing it with these meat hooks at 60 mile an hour, you're just peppering it all into places you're never going to spray out. So I just highly encourage you to take a deep look. If you don't have them and you drive anywhere that doesn't always stay dry, then this is going to be well worth your money into looking into that. All right, now while we're up underneath here, these right here is a SES system by Timbren, so suspension enhancement. And if you look at it in a sense that, if you're going to tow, you're going to put crap in the bed, these are actually really great. Now I'd make sure you look and don't get the severe service ones, because they will touch the actual bump stop plate before you have anything in there. You can see there's a good enough gap up in there, and that right there is going to give you extra sway control. It's going to help with that sag when you load the trailer. They're way less than a bag. There's no maintenance. They're set it and forget it. I have install videos on this on the 24 Chevy, on the 24 Ford, the 24 Ram. I put them all on there. So if you pick up one of these sets, again, they're going to be linked down below. Just make sure you link the one that says Chevy or Ford or whatever. It'll be down there. But again, versus bags, I've had them all. I've had bags, I've had sumo springs, I've had the leaf spring helper system, like the help ride or whatever the heck they were called. I didn't like those. Again, these are just easier to install, 20-minute job, less than a couple $100, and I guarantee if you put anything in your bed or tow anything, that you're gonna like that little bit of improvement. And all the ones I've ever put bags on, guys, if you don't have a compressor, they're the pain in the ace to have to deflate so you can have a better ride, and then find a way to inflate them. So I've put compressors on them, and that's an expensive endeavor. So especially if you're not towing 24/7. If you're a hot shotter, then maybe it's worth for you to spend a couple grand on bags and an air compressor like that. But that is a highly functional piece, and I highly recommend that. Now, another thing when it comes to the bed, guys, I have Ford's factory puck system. I installed this, so if you want to know how to put the bed pucks in yourself, video on that, I can link that down below. It is a little bit more of a tedious process, but it costs way less than having them do it. And that way I could use my adapter and my fifth wheel plate. But now a lot of you guys, if you have that system, I'd go ahead and get yourself one of these kits, okay? Now you can order this from Ford, you can order it from GM, whoever you want. They will all universally fit. So if you already have one, don't be like, oh, I need to go get a Chevy one because I only have a Ford one. This works. Now this kit's going to have your 2 5/16 gooseneck ball. Super easy to install, works with the pucks, and then you have your chain shackles, safety chain shackles. Now I'm going to link one down below because they're all the same. This one is like $250, $275 or something from Ford. It was already on the window sticker of one of my trucks. I did not order it, but I've kept it along the way. I confirmed I do have videos on how to install this on the actual channel, so you can go ahead and do that. But the one I have linked is about half price, just as good, rated at just about as 30,000 pounds. So heaven forbid you're towing that much, it will be just fine. Now, if you're not a goosenecker and you're a tower for conventional towing, this is what's called a drop hitch, guys. This is a very simple one, very inexpensive one. I will link. They don't make this one anymore. I've had this for a couple of years, but a company that I've bought hitches from before has the same high quality one, same price one. I'm not endorsed by them, but a drop hitch allows you to drop it anywhere between level and 10 inches, 12 inches, depending on which one you pick. Gives you all the pins and everything like that. That's going to go in your 2 5/16 receiver. Now, Again, make sure if you're getting one that's a class 5, it's going to have a larger receiver part. If this is a 2-inch, I'll show you another piece you're going to need to think about getting here just shortly. Don't be the person that's towing a lifted or a high-sitting truck like Loki and like all the new trucks with a trailer that's pitched, especially if you have a boat or a trailer and the bumpers are already low. Those will drag on the ground if you're not using the ability to drop that hitch to bring that trailer to level. Again, you may think it looks cool, but it also sets off the towing dynamics. If you have dual axles, triple axles, it sets off on where those axles are actually carrying the load. Your trailer needs to be as level as you can get it. So this is an accessory you got to think about. Even on a stock trimmer, a stock trail boss, they sit so high. Seriously think about getting that. Don't go buy those janky little ones with a 1.5-inch drop from Walmart and think that you're going to be able to pitch off your trailer. And you know it'll work, but you know, as inexpensive as this is, you might as well think about doing it the right way. Now, I had this asked once before when we were doing some stuff in the back of the truck, or somebody asked about all of my bags up front. You can see right here, I have all my bags up front. Each one of those bags is semi-waterproof, but I keep all of my chains, my boomers, my tie downs, my come-alongs, everything in those bags, because when I'm using the truck, I'm probably going to be using it for truck stuff. Somebody gets stuck, I like to help out. I try and do that. I will link those down below. They're pretty cheap and they'll hold, you know, several 20-foot chains, which is pretty cool, but wasn't necessarily about the bag. This little net, cargo net, guys, this is what I like a lot. I'll link this down below because we all know we got a truck and we're at the Costco, we're at the Walmart, the cab's full of people, and we need to put crap in here, suitcases on the way to the airport. This will help stuff not only stop from shifting, because you can push it way back and it actually gives you kind of like a divider. It rolls up easy, gets the heck out of the way if you want to, and then it has a dividing pocket. So go to the grocery store, grab a gallon of milk, 40 gallons of milk, whatever your kids drink, drop it in the middle there, hook these carabiners wherever you want to actually keep your stuff secure. Super, super cheap. I've had several people ask me about this in the past, so we're talking about it today. Very inexpensive cargo net, and it'll help protect stuff too along the way. Now, next thing I always tell people, if you're going to haul gear and stuff, I keep tools in here. My hitch fits in here. Covers. I have a video about covers, but this is a Paragon cover. This is their top mama, and it's one of the best covers I've ever had in my life. It provides cover, concealment, and pretty much weatherproof. If you're going to take it into a high spring car wash, of course they'll all leak a smidge, but you can get a small one. Just remember what your point is when you're looking at one of these covers is what you're trying to accomplish. You just want the stuff to be covered. You don't care about security, then a roll-up vinyl one will be fine. It won't last as long, but I'm not going to talk a ton today about this, but I do have a full review on the Paragon, the backflip, the Lear, and everything on the channel. Head over there and we can talk about different tonneau covers. For me personally, I like this setup. I can remove it. I can keep my hitch in here and everything. Again, that is a very expensive option, but it's comparable to all the other high-end ones, and this one is phenomenal. All right, now a lot of you guys might not be thinking about this, but a receiver hitch cover. I don't do a lot of conventional towing, but these little covers, some of them are made of metal, some of them are super fancy. This is a very inexpensive one. Hell yeah, America, here we go. I like my America flag, just a little bit of pizzazz. The reason why I buy this though is because that hole just gets filled with grime and crap, starts rusting out. We all know that these trucks, if you just saw the underside of my differential, this truck has 7,000 miles on it. It's already starting to have superficial rust. It's not super damaging to that, but this is just basically not a heavy duty piece of steel. Eventually it will rust, so I would highly encourage you to look at something that's going to plug that. And even if you are a receiver guy and you're going to leave your hitch in there all the time, more than likely it's going to start rusting around it. So I'd recommend taking that out unless you just like it for protection for all the people who aren't paying attention in case you get rear-ended, right? Another accessory is you have a class 5 or a larger receiver. This is a 2-inch adapter to bring it down. I will put one of these in there. What this allows you to do is if you go buy a cheap one from Walmart, they're not going to have the class 5 type hitches in there. So you're going to need to actually put this in there to reduce it down to a 2-inch, like a class 3 size receiver hitch. Again, I like this one because it's smooth, but they make dozens of them. Square ones, they make ones with rubber buffers in there. This one doesn't really rattle, so I really don't care, but they do make ones that'll come in the kit that have the rubber bumper in there, so that way it doesn't make that little bit of a sound there. And again, if you need to access your hitch, you can just slide this out. Now, I will tell you, after a few years, you can see how much sand's just in this. you can just wrap some electrical tape around these knobs, these little rubber grippers, and shove it in there and it won't fall out. And good thing about it is, if somebody felt like they needed this more and wanted to steal it because they're, you know, that kind of person, it's cheap. So not a big deal. All right, now I have a video of this on the channel too, guys, is my door edge protection. I see people putting the plastic door edging on these cracks right here. And I see people putting even the grippier stuff, it's heavy duty rubber with a metal clip on there. Just keep in mind, that's going to tear up the paint. It is. Especially if it's metal, it's always gonna, or not metal, say metal or plastic, it's going to leave a little ridge there. So 3M clear bra. Now they're gonna offer this at your dealer for several $100s. Guys, you can do it. You could probably buy one roll and do 2 cars at your house, as easy as it is. I have installed videos on several different videos, Subarus, Hondas, all my trucks and stuff like that. So you can hardly see it right here. This is anti-yellowing 3M clear bra. You can run it as much as you like, put on any of the edges. I even have a video where you can buy the 6-inch and do these door pockets, because just reach your hands in there, your fingernails will scratch that up. But you can install it yourself, about 10 minutes. It goes, wraps around the edges. Very, very inexpensive way to protect your doors, because sometimes people aren't paying attention, kids aren't paying attention. These doors are gigantic on all the trucks. You swing them open, smacks into somebody else's. This may even help prevent, depending on how hard your door was open, from damaging something, just in case you have one of those moments. Now again, a lot of these accessories are going to run anywhere between, you know, the most expensive ones like a tonneau cover could run you $1,500 or less. I've had about 400 ones, they're good. The net's at less than 20. Some of these interior things are less than 20. The door trim's less than 10. So it's just a lot of different things. And if you're trying to pump out some crazy Christmas ideas and you just don't know what to get something useful. Tell your loved ones, hey, I'd like this, man. Give them the link and have them buy it, you know, because you can install it yourself and you'll get kind of a twofold win. You get a Christmas idea out there to most people, and you know, you got to protect your vehicle. Again, these are expensive assets, and they're the one thing that depreciate the minute you buy them. So why not do everything you can to protect them in the long run? All right, next but not least, right here, every truck that I've ever been in, this starts getting torn up and scratched and beat up. Why? Well, it's because you're trying to get out. You don't want to slip and everything. They make these for everybody. Guys, these are super cheap. They're just a sticker. You don't need to spend big money on these. They make them to say Ford, Chevy, 4x4 Off-Road, AT4, Toyota, whatever. Clean this up really good. I got an install video on this. And you can slap them on. It will come with a 4-piece, so you can do all 4 doors, because I guarantee if you go out to even to most cars, this is scratched up even a little SUV. And people in trucks typically are getting dirty, lots of stuff, everything like that. So I would highly encourage you to think and look at that. So another thing that is functional, but it just kind of adds a little bit of spice to your thing, but really helps prevent rattles in your doors, is these little rubber pieces right here. So I'm going to link these down below. I bought them for all my trucks. Just make sure when you go to the link that you get the right cab. If you have an access cab, a double cab, a crew cab, 5-seat, 6-seat, or whatever, make sure you do that, so they can make sure you get the right one. So Cup Holder Hero makes these. I'm not endorsed by them, but I've been using them for better half of 10, 15 years. And what they do is they go in all of these little door pockets. So if you like putting a pin in there or something in there, change, this is going to prevent it from rattling, because this is all hard plastic. They get dirty, sticky, you pull them out, you wash them with some Dawn dish soap, and you're good as gold. You can get them in multiple different colors, so they look good. I have videos on these and in my Subaru where they have some with little little drawings in their cars. They're kind of cool. But you put them in all of this stuff because most of the rattles in our vehicles are coming from the crap that we put in them. So that is a nice, inexpensive thing to put in them. They can make them for all of your cup holders and everything like that. All right, last but not least, I'm going to talk about something that a lot of people make fun of me for doing, is all-weather mats. So if you're the person that's going to order a truck to rubber floor, you won't need mats, right? But just keep in mind, if you are going to hose that thing out, all that water's still going to go underneath. Door trim piece right here, there is a potential for rust. You do have wiring going underneath there, so just be mindful of that. But here we are, we're talking about floor liners. Now these are the Ford Super Duty ones. They are already on this truck. I didn't order this truck like that. Chevy GMC makes a really nice floor liner that covers a lot. They make several different ones, if you will, but they cover the area, because I always like having carpet in my trucks. But you can see that this mat really doesn't go all the way up the firewall, doesn't really go underneath the gas pedal, but it does have a ridge right here. And because these factory ones are almost as expensive as the aftermarket ones, I like Husky Liner's Xact Contour, because they have this grippy silicone rubber feeling to them versus, say, a WeatherTech. A WeatherTech is hard plastic. And now Husky Liners does make a weather beater that's a little bit less expensive than the Xact Contour. And it's just as slick. And so when you get in here and this is wet, there's already a potential for this to be even slick. Imagine if it's hard plastic. And those usually tend to warp over time. So I'm going to highly recommend whether you go with a Ford one or you go with a GM one, or if you go with an aftermarket like Xact Contour, you look at not only your coverage, but making sure that this material is highly soft, highly pliable, and does the job of keeping this water dam up. So once the water can dry up in here, whether it's by the heat or over time, or you just need to pick it up and dump it, it keeps it all in the channel. And that's what I like about the Chevy ones. They're very nice liners. They're several $100s. They're like $400 for the front and the rear. One thing I don't like about the Ford one, this one, you can see it doesn't cover as much. But when we hop in the back here, it doesn't come down over this carpet edge. So you can see where the stinking dog hair is in my car. I've never even had a dog in here. That's just from people walking it in. But it also moves. So it leaves like a 2, 3, 4 inch gap depending on which side's pushed out. And this is the factory one. There's no grippy teeth on it. And these were a couple $100 from Ford, so you have to constantly move it back. Now, it does do the purpose of keeping the material in this area, but this isn't covered. A lot of the aftermarket ones are going to cover this area. Chevy covers this area. Again, make sure that you look and see if you have underseat storage before you order them, so that way you get the right configuration. Now, Chevy's just gives you the whole mat and you cut out the piece if you have the underseat storage.